When a beam of electromagnetic radiation strikes a metal surface, it can knock electrons entirely out of the material. This is the photoelectric effect. In the late 19th century, physicists understood light through James Clerk Maxwell's equations. In this model, light was a continuous, smoothly propagating wave of electromagnetic energy. If light is a continuous wave, the energy it delivers should depend on its intensity, or amplitude. A brighter light means a larger wave, which should transfer more kinetic energy to the electrons it hits. Furthermore, if that continuous wave is very dim, the energy is spread thin. An electron would need to sit in the light beam and slowly accumulate energy over time, causing a measurable delay before it finally absorbs enough to break free. But experiments showed the exact opposite. Cranking up the brightness of the light did increase the number of electrons ejected, but the maximum speed of those electrons didn't budge. They weren't absorbing any extra kinetic energy from the brighter wave. The continuous wave model failed to predict how energy transfers at the subatomic level. Classical electrodynamics could not explain what was actually happening inside the metal. The problem deepened when experimentalists adjusted the color, or frequency, of the light. They found that a blindingly intense red light would eject absolutely zero electrons. Yet a very faint, low-intensity ultraviolet light would eject them immediately. There was a strict threshold frequency below which the effect simply stopped. This frequency dependence breaks the math of a continuous wave model. If energy is distributed continuously across a wave, any color of light should eventually deliver enough energy to free an electron, provided the beam is bright enough or shines long enough. Moreover, there was no accumulation period. As long as the frequency was above the threshold, electrons ejected instantaneously, within a billionth of a second, regardless of how incredibly dim the incident light was. The resolution to this paradox came in 1905, when Albert Einstein published a paper proposing a radically different model of light. Einstein hypothesized that the energy of a light wave is not spread continuously over space. Instead, it consists of a finite number of indivisible energy packets, localized points in space, moving without dividing. We now call these quanta, or photons. To make sense of the threshold frequency, the continuous wave picture had to be set aside. Light had to be modeled as a stream of quantized particles, where the energy of each individual packet is dictated strictly by its frequency. To prove this quantized model, physicists needed a way to measure the invisible kinetic energy of these ejected photoelectrons. They used a vacuum tube containing two metal plates, a photosensitive cathode that receives the light, and a collecting anode that catches the freed electrons. By wiring a variable voltage source in reverse, they applied a negative potential to the anode. This creates an electric field that repels the incoming photoelectrons, forcing the slower ones to turn around before they can complete the circuit. As the negative voltage increases, fewer and fewer electrons make the gap. Eventually, you reach a precise voltage that stops even the absolute fastest, most energetic photoelectron right before it hits the anode. The current drops to zero. This specific threshold is the stopping potential. At this exact moment, all of the electron's kinetic energy has been converted into electrical potential energy. We can write a strict energy conservation equation. The maximum kinetic energy of the electron equals the magnitude of its charge, E, multiplied by the stopping potential, V0. Because we already know the value of the elementary charge, reading the voltage on the dial gives us the total energy. We do not need to individually measure the mass or the velocity of the subatomic particle. The stopping potential provides a direct, macroscopic electrical readout of the precise subatomic kinetic energy of the ejected electrons. Returning to Einstein's model, the energy of an incoming photon is defined by the equation E equals hf, where h is Planck's constant and f is the frequency. In quantum mechanics, energy transfer is an all-or-nothing event. A single electron interacts with exactly one photon at a time. It completely absorbs that photon's energy, and it cannot save up fractional energy from multiple photon strikes. This technical diagram illustrates how that energy is spent. Every metal has a specific binding energy that traps electrons in its atomic lattice. The minimum energy required to rip the most loosely bound electron away from the surface is called the work function, represented by the Greek letter phi, or a capital W. Electrons sitting deeper within the energy levels of the metal require more than just the base work function to escape. They need an additional amount of energy, labeled delta epsilon. Because they spend more of the photon's energy fighting their way to the surface, they emerge with lower residual kinetic energy. The simplest interaction happens at the very surface. For the least tightly bound electron, the maximum kinetic energy is simply the incident photon energy minus the work function. The freed electron's kinetic energy is just the photon's total delivered energy minus the binding energy toll required to exit the metal. This subtraction solves the threshold paradox. If the incoming photon's energy, hf, is smaller than the work function toll, the resulting kinetic energy would be negative. Physically, this means the electron cannot escape. The photon is absorbed, but the electron remains trapped. Einstein's equation demonstrates why an intense beam of red light does nothing. The total intensity is irrelevant if each individual photon lacks the discrete frequency required to pay the work function toll. To test this, researchers combined the electrical stopping potential with Einstein's kinetic energy equation. By substituting K max with V mat and dividing by the elementary charge, the equation becomes stopping potential equals Planck's constant over charge times frequency minus the work function over charge. This rearranged formula is a standard linear equation, y equals mx plus b. It maps stopping voltage on the y-axis against like frequency on the x-axis. This graph plots experimental data measuring the stopping potential against the frequency of incident light for 3 different photocathode materials: cesium, sodium, and calcium. The x-intercept for each line tells us exactly where the stopping potential is 0. This point is the unique threshold frequency required to overcome the distinct work function of that specific element. But the critical detail lies in the geometry of the plot. Despite cesium, sodium, and calcium having completely different atomic structures and threshold frequencies, the plotted lines are perfectly parallel. Mathematically, parallel lines have the same slope. In our linear equation, the slope is the value h over e. It is a constant, unaffected by the material being tested. Since the elementary charge of an electron was already known, finding the exact slope of these lines allowed experimental physicists to isolate and calculate Planck's constant to an extraordinary degree of precision, completely independently of prior blackbody radiation experiments. The identical slopes across different metals provided the irrefutable mathematical proof that light energy operates as a quantized particle. The photoelectric effect forced physics to reconcile 2 seemingly contradictory truths. Light propagates through the vacuum of space as a continuous wave, obeying Maxwell's equations. Yet, when it interacts with physical matter, it acts exclusively as discrete, localized particles. This quantum mechanic is the exact mechanism powering modern optoelectronics. In a silicon solar panel, the work function is replaced by a semiconductor bandgap. A photon with sufficient energy knocks an electron loose, creating an electron-hole pair that is swept into an electrical current. Digital camera sensors rely on that same strict 1-to-1 ratio. Photons pass through the lens and hit a pixel array, with each discrete photon ejecting an electron. The total charge accumulated in the pixel translates precisely into the digital brightness you see on screen. High-end particle accelerators use photomultiplier tubes to detect incredibly faint radiation. A single photon strikes a photocathode, ejecting 1 electron, which then cascades through a series of plates to trigger a massive, measurable electrical pulse. Einstein's 1905 paper corrected the flaws in classical thermodynamics by mapping the precise mathematics of the photon, laying the electronic foundation of the modern world.